Good evening, everyone. This is Grant Hubbard with Gutter Growth. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We're here Sunday night just doing a little chopping it up. I've got a close friend and coworker in Theo Callagin. We'll be having a conversation with tonight. Theo, thanks for joining me on a Sunday afternoon during football. You can tell you know what's important to me and you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who's Theo?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, it's an honor and a privilege to be here, sir. I thank you
Absolutely.
for the opportunity. I wouldn't have missed it. But basically, I'm Theo Callagin, like you stated at first. I'm just a regular guy. Um, was looking for an opportunity to change my life and to change my profession. I was in the food service industry for about 11 years and everything like that. So uh, I was kind of basically just like the hamster on the wheel. I was running and running, hoping that something changed, but it never did. I was just kept running on
Kept
that
moving
wheel.
the
So
cheese on you, huh?
exactly who moved, but yeah, I was looking for who moved my cheese for sure, for sure. Um, but uh, but yeah, so it was definitely a blessing to have run across or us to have crossed paths the way we did.
Yeah.
Um, I reached out to you after the whole COVID thing at first went
Is
crazy
that
and
when we
everything.
met?
So
We met like during, I think it was like during COVID. It
during
wasn't,
COVID,
we were out and
exactly, yeah.
about.
It
Yeah,
was
here in
yeah,
San
we were just
Antonio,
yeah,
the
yeah.
rules were like,
Yeah,
eh,
for sure.
we were still out there doing
Things started
things.
going downhill. Like they started going downhill like exponentially after that.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
we had to wait a few months.
Hmm.
Uh and then but when I finally got in contact with you, you gave me the opportunity to, to show what I had.
Yep.
You hired me as well. So here we are now 3 years later, or
Yeah.
basically 2.5 good ones.
Yep.
I've gone from not having any knowledge about gutters or construction or anything like that. So to basically now working my way up the system, up the ladders, to becoming hopefully a senior head installer.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, you're on a senior head trial right now. We'll get into that a little bit. Tell me, like, what was that journey or thought process like coming from the food industry, restaurant industry, from what I know about you, to coming into the construction field? Like, I don't want to talk in third party here. It was me. We met one evening. I think it was at a pool hall or something. Just got acquainted, and I was like, I'm always trying to find guys that don't have experience, right? I think that's probably how I pitched you. Like, hey, I've got a great career opportunity for you, basically paid training. Do you remember it being the same style? And what was like, how did you feel at first, like just being approached by someone to take you to a whole different industry?
Well, first I was like, man, I know he lying, bro. There is no way that I can make any type of money like that. You know what I mean? The first thing I had to get rid of was the victim mentality, the mindset
Oh.
of I'm a black man. Ain't no way I'm gonna make this type of money and everything like this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's
I remember you talking about that. Yep.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
um
So
yeah, so what was that thought process like? Again, there was COVID, so the situation, I think it was like 4 or 5 months later, a couple different phone calls. The system of the economy was kind of back up and running a little bit down here. What made you, and how did you feel about that initial phone call coming into just a whole nother trade?
well, I definitely it was a shocker. I guess I can say that I had to make major adjustments. Um, I knew I had the heart to get it done, being a man or whatever, but at the same time having the skill and understanding the logic and the art behind, the gutters and everything like that. It's that's something that takes time. So initially when I first got into it, I did not understand, especially how to use my snips. I didn't even know the proper name of the tools. Like I felt like they would make fun of me. They'll tell me to go get the circle saw, knowing that I didn't know what it was. So I bring back like a hacksaw. They go, no, we need the sawzall. And then I come back with a circular saw. I
Yeah,
was like, oh
yeah,
my God. So I had to literally take time to learn the tools, you know what I mean, to understand how they like to use them properly. Of course, that comes along with the OSHA and just training and stuff like that. So
yeah, yeah,
I had to
absolutely.
I had to be really patient with the process, and I had to basically like clear out the head trash, you know.
Yeah, I think you're a really good example, a perfect example of someone wasn't expecting to get into. You were in the service food industry. Now you're in the home people on their property service industry. Life is about service.
Yes,
I
sir.
think if you have service somewhere along the lines in your moral agenda and that makes your heart happy, like it doesn't really matter what you're doing as long as you're properly trained. And that's kind of what I want to talk with you a little bit and just get some earnest feedback from you. Um, about systems, right? So initially, when you came in for the interview, we talked, and I probably gave you the spiel, like very short, like what do you do in your spare time? Who are you? What do you like? And would you like a career, not a job? And I'll give you paid training for however long it takes. But here's some accountability roles that we have, right? We call it our contract. Um, what do you feel about that contract we have on the wall that allows you guys to get your own raises based off of doing certain things and then being held accountable for it? What did you feel about that first when I first approached you with that ladder of pay structure? What was your thoughts about that?
I think two words pop up in my mind when I think about the contract is equal opportunity. You
Okay.
know, it's not limited to um who you are, or
Hmm.
it's not structured about who you are. It's about what you know and what you can prove.
Yep.
And meeting the expectations that are set. So basically it's like when we were speaking earlier about college and everything, basically it's a syllabus. It's the requirements, the things that like to be successful in order to make it further along in the process and not like be stagnant, you know.
Yep.
So when I saw it, I was like, wow, I've never worked for an employer that says, here's the money, this is what you do to get the money. You know, like here's the opportunity. It's really up to you and how much you want to work. Like how do you view yourself? Do you take
Yeah.
yourself serious?
Do you take
If you
yourself
take yourself
seriously?
serious, then
Hmm.
sir,
No, I agree with you on that. Like, do you take yourself seriously? And if you do, like, with purpose and intention, how quick can you check off all these boxes and get raises literally at your own will? Which is why I love getting people, I talk about it constantly, getting people that have no experience. I really, I really like that because I think the best part about this business structure of systems that like specifically the installers on the truck work closely with their supervisor, whether that's a general manager, operations manager, production coordinator, like whoever it is, senior head installer. Those direct systems that we work on together are literally what is your value. We document it, you become efficient at it, and we check that off and we pay you for it. And then we hold you accountable to hold other people accountable to that exact same process, right? Starting from sweeping the floors, taking out the trash, all the way up to, helping me or whoever it is run the business. Do you find um, I'm sure you've worked several different jobs. Do you find that is a bigger motivator and knowing what you know now, in your second, third year moving forward, um, especially when you start to think about that senior head installer role and the responsibility? Can you look back and say that, like, again, knowing what you know now, thank God for that contract that's on the wall, because that's going to help you manage other people easier. Like, you don't have to come up with your own way of managing people. You can just say, hey, this thing, it works. I'm going to hold you to the same system and accountability level that Grant would, or whoever the supervisor or boss is at the time? Or do you think that kind of hinders your role as a up and coming leader in um, or a mix, or like where does that sit with you?
I think the only
Curious. I'm really
hindrance,
curious about that.
I think the only hindrance is if if I can't work side by side with the ladder system, like if I can't train properly in the field, then I won't be able to train properly about the ladder system. Like I
Correct.
feel like the system is not only just there for the up and coming individuals, but it's also for the leaders as well to teach us how
Oh,
to lead better.
100%. And
You know, so
I worked a lot. I mean, that chart that we have stops at a position I had years ago, but like, I'm still working systems, right? I'm a coach nationally as well and doing a bunch of things. If anyone thinks
yeah,
that I'm not,
shout out to you for that too, for making major moves too. Shout out to
thank
you.
you. I appreciate it, man. It's like the gutter industry kind of pushed me into this little corner that I'm in. And
Yeah, came
I listen, I love it. I love it. It's very
came,
cool.
came
The
out swinging,
intention,
baby.
the intention behind what I'm doing in the industry is not to instruct people on what to do. It's just to be a soundboard for people that have went through certain things, and hopefully, I'm able to just help them draft up a new plan. I think starting from fresh or taking something good that you have and making it a lot better is cool. Um, one instance, I was speaking with a gentleman earlier today. You were here while I was doing that over at my house, and we were just like, the whole thing I'm doing, Grant Hubbard, the custom gutter guy, is doing is I want our industry to be recognized. We're still gutter cleaners. Like, multi-million dollar businesses have to have their ad on Google under a gutter cleaning business, not a gutter installation business. And I was just like, man, Google better put some respect on our names, right? Like
Right,
you,
right,
me,
right, right,
Skip, like the
right.
brothers, Frank, like put some respect on all these
Just
guys
a
in
little
this,
bit, just a little bit of respect
just
on
a
it,
little
man.
bit.
For
Like
sure.
we stopped cleaning
For sure.
gutters as a sole source of income. We still clean them, right? Little bits here and there, and some
Yeah.
exterior companies.
Hey,
A
let
lot of
me come see you. Let me come see the average Joe come move a 32-foot ladder with the standoff on, you know what I mean?
or the
Or
40.
be
You
up
guys
there
are
on the
moving
roof.
40s around. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. 40s up there on the roof, getting measurements
Yeah,
and all types of things of that nature.
the systems. So I work systems. I have a system to do my podcast. I have lots of shows. I have a great system of being able to track those. It's called a calendar, right? And it lets me know a day before that it's time to review and look at the agenda. Tell me a little bit about the systems that I have in place for you at work. Now, me and you have been fortunate or unfortunate, whatever. We learn everywhere we go, everywhere we put our feet, we call home while we're there, and sometimes we have to move on. We've been fortunate to work at two separate gutter companies together. I think the intentions and the tactics are the same, right? Let's get paid. You make money, I make money, business makes money, our helpers make money. Like, everyone is here to make money and grow the business. Give me like a couple of the systems that you think you didn't initially understand the value of, and you now understand the value of, and you get a little bit excited. Um, Mostly because you are coming into a huge leadership position at our branch, and you just started a trial. You're going to be doing that for, what do we say, 6 weeks or something.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Yes, sir.
you're going to hit this roller coaster of things you know and things you don't know, and that's where I'm going to redirect you back to the systems that we have in place. But talk to me about one or two specifically that, whatever, 3 years ago you didn't 2 years ago you didn't understand necessarily the value of, and now you do.
Um,
It could
I
be,
think
listen,
number
it doesn't have to just be our contract. Could be any of the systems, like our AWOs, our four corners, our the way you ask your people to tool up each day, whatever it is. Like, could be any of the systems. We have a lot.
Yeah, definitely. If I can say anything, I would honestly say that you hit it right on the head when the pouch game.
Mm,
Like always keeping your pouch on you,
yep.
having your pouch set up before you leave the truck, basically. Like do as much as you can while you're at the truck before you leave the truck, so you don't have to come back to the truck.
Yep.
So that like consists of, you know, ladders, power, coil, doing everything, loading all the material that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course that's getting your pouch ready, the drills, the different drills, hammer drill. Make sure you have your tap cons. Make sure you have your 5/16, your bit. Make sure you have the screws, the zips and stuff that you need. You know, if you got your caulk gun or whatever, it sucks to be loaded up like that. You know what I mean? But when you do it so many times with the muscle memory, it becomes like it's like you don't want to walk back and forth or
How
whatever.
much more
So
money are you making than the guy who doesn't want to wear the pouch? Right?
yeah, I
Unless
mean,
you don't
I
get
think
paid
I
by
think
the hour, so there's no reason for you to be just hanging out, to chilling. Right?
nah, I'm not. I'm definitely not on vacation. You know, trying to
No,
be. So
we have a partnership, right?
Yes,
This
sir.
company, we have a partnership. You're a partner in this business, and as efficiently as I move is with intent is just as efficiently as you move, right? As just as officially as Kit moves. Like everything we're doing is official, and we're doing it with intent, and there's purpose. Tell me a little bit about like you've worked at a couple other companies, right? So, and the systems aren't always taken care of the exact same way, or we've got high focus. What's the word that we use? Like when we talk about our communication, high level,
High level
high level
communication.
communication.
Yes, sir.
So, like the way that you get the CRM that we use, all that information, push a button, you're on the way, communicates with the customer. You got the
That's true.
opportunity tonight to look at the photos. Well, we're booked out a couple weeks. You know what you're doing every day of the week. What do you think about losing that system and going back to like no photos before the job?
I can take it a step further than that. Having to go get your own material
Oh
every
wow.
morning. To going to
Yeah,
going to
that
Synox.
staging system that we have.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think you're starting
The
to feel.
staging system is definitely something that is like that's high level. You know what I mean? It helps you definitely be more like become more efficient or be more efficient. Um, to know where your material where it is, and even if it's not staged where you want it to be technically, you know it's somewhere in the shop to where all you have to go do is pull it yourself.
Right.
And if you've driven 30, 45 minutes through Houston traffic and then waited 30 minutes and then having to go drive back, to your or drive
You
to
talking
your
about
home
hanging
or to
out
the
at
homeowner.
Xeноx or Spectre or whatever or
Yes,
ABC?
sir. So I mean, I can go as far as like the staging, how we do things there, and like you said, knowing the jobs that we have for next week. You know what I mean? If we want to go that far, you know what I mean? I mean, honestly, that's like when we're really rocking and rolling. We have jobs, staged out that far, but or already booked. But at the same time, to know what you have coming tomorrow or Wednesday, Thursday, it helps you to like mentally prepare. That way,
Yeah.
when you have your huddles, you know exactly what to tell your assistants. You know exactly how to tackle whatever problems that you have. Now, sometimes, of course, you get there and there's things that you were not expecting,
Yeah,
but
there's
that's that one.
unforeseen.
Those one or two situations shouldn't affect like the RPH that much, like the day that much.
Right.
So
Correct. Yeah, I know. I appreciate that feedback. I think like um doing gutters as long as I have and just I'll tell you a story real quick, man. I worked at this place in Fort Worth. I worked at a couple places in Fort Worth, but I remember this was like in the height of my career. Like I was probably 23 or 24. I'm strong, I'm ripping and roaring. I'm 8 years in the game. I've done it a bunch of different cities and states at this time. I'm moving, I'm fully pouched up. I get to this company and I thought that the owner smoked cigars because the very first time I met him when he got out of his truck, he blew like a big cloud of smoke, and I never saw him smoke cigarettes. But he was like a cowboy dude, and he was smoking meth anyway. I didn't know that at the time. Just blew
oh,
out.
when you said cloud, I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
this
it's
is
something. All right.
before vape pen, so I was just like, for whatever reason it was, I just thought like he looked like a cigar guy. I had pulled up onto his
Right.
property. He was like stepping halfway in and out of his truck. he was losing his mind telling me about the business. He had two like open trailer machines. Um, but he was going to pay well. I think at the time that was 2003. And I was making like 300-400 bucks a day. Okay. Cash money. And he signed me up really quick, knowing what I know now that, he was a drug addict. I think I actually worked there for like a month and a half or two. Didn't really work, ever really see him. It was kind of a come get the trailer, go to Senox. In the morning, he would set your job or two, the piece of paper on the driver's seat. You pulled like through the back of his property to this little barn, and you'd grab the truck and the trailer and go to Senox, and those jobs would be waiting for you. You'd wait for an hour or two or whatever. But I say all that to say, I remember the first day getting to Senox and realizing that we didn't have any like screws on the truck. And I had a helper that had been working there for a couple of years. He said, "Oh, well, we don't use screws, we use nails." And I'm like, "Oh, spikes, right? Like a 7, 8, 9-inch spike. I guess not 9-inch. Those are the ones we use in Florida on the slanted, a little harder. These little spiral nails, like 2.5-inch nails." And I'm like,
with the Phillips
"No,
bit on
sir,
it?
it's just a hammer." So there's this device called a pea shooter. And
An actual nail. Wow.
yes, I have one in my garage. I'll show you sometime. So it's a sleeve. Basically, take a big straw and then a smaller straw that would fit into it. And you would drop the nail into this thing backwards, and it would have the piece that stuck out. And you'd take it and like push the end so the nail would stick out, and you'd put it at the hanger, and then you'd hit this nail like above the gutter, not a spike, like just beat a nail into the hanger. And I was like, "Oh no, we don't need to do it like that anymore. Okay, we'll do it like that today." This is absolutely absurd. It was foreign to me, right? It was very foreign to me. And I'm like, they have hidden hangers now. We should be using these. I wanted to change the system.
No
I didn't have
way.
access to the owner. Like it was just Monday through Friday. These pieces of paper would be on. I would try to call him. He'd be busy. He'd say, "Get back with me." And I banged nails, spiral nails into gutters for like a month or two with this pea shooter thing. It was wild, this whole company. But I remember there not being any systems in place. That was one place I remember like actually having zero structure besides the papers on your thing. Every now and then there would be cash, so you could put gas in, and your paycheck would be on your seat in cash.
That's
And
wild.
I remember leaving there and going to another company that had systems and like really longing briefly to not have structure. Like, they had us think punching in. We had to take like some after pictures or something of the jobs. And for like, a couple of days, I'm like, I didn't used to have to do this. This is taking up, but I quickly was like, yeah, this is a better company to work for.
Yeah, the after photos are basically insurance, basically that
Insurance.
this is how we left the home. The job
Mhm.
was complete. We closed out our end of the contract. We held up our bargain, like our end of the
Yep,
bargain.
we
So
done what we were paid to come do the right way. There's
yes,
a whole
sir.
conversation around those. So you taking all those after pictures or before pictures of stuff that you see, et cetera, right? Those are all part of the systems. Tell me one of the systems you think that as an employee that you think you struggle the most with, maybe that everyone struggles the most with, or something you think that, you're still trying to kind of wrap your head around. I think you touched base on one of those things. Like, I think the scariest part would be training that ladder to other people. The part where it says like be proficient in training it, where you've
Yeah.
literally got to make sure they're doing all that stuff that we have on there. But more singularly, do you have one thing that you're still struggling with? That's a system that I have in place.
Uh,
It takes some honesty. No one's gonna judge. I mean, I have parts of the system that I battle with. I could share that if the tables were turned. But what do you
I
think?
wasn't I wasn't expecting to come here and shoot you down, bro. Like I thought this was me
Take,
uplifting you. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you
no,
can't
no,
you hey,
absolutely.
you
Take
got
the
you got to you got to plan me like ahead of time to let me know when I need to be a hater, bro.
No, for sure. Um,
This
tell me,
one of the parts
yeah,
like
you
that
froze
I
a little
that,
bit. Go
that I may
ahead.
have struggled.
Yeah, tell me what
Oh,
something.
I froze a little bit. My,
Yeah, you're good.
oh, my bad. No, one of the something I struggle with, I guess, would be the phone calls.
Mm,
Like making the phone calls,
okay.
because then I'm like, sometimes I'm thinking they already know I'm on the way. So I
Right.
mean, we plan this out. They've already spoken to people. I know how the system goes, but then when I stop and I think about it, I go, you know what? It's not about me. It's about the team and
Mm,
making sure that we look like, that we not only look like, but we embody the 5-star quality,
thank you,
like
sir.
mindset, like, like
Yeah.
taking it a step further, and honestly, sometimes you get those reviews and compliments because of the fact that you held up to what, like when you run in the track meet and it's the relay, like
Yep.
you can be fast, but if you don't know how to hand off the baton correctly, or if you don't know how to, get the
Preach.
baton in stride,
That's
it's
beautiful.
like it's
That's
not.
beautiful. I love the way you put that. I encourage you, Therion, as you step into this bigger leadership role, because you have a leadership role that I've given you right now, and you're defining, who that is and who you are. Um, to use examples like that. I encourage you to find something. I do the same thing with sports, right? Like I'm always trying to be the little league coach or whatever, with our team, or the pastor, or whatever you guys call me.
Yeah, hey Bishop, Bishop.
Bishop Hubbard. But I think that's the best way to relate with people, is find something relatable. I tell people all the time, like, and I could say this to you because this is the first time me and you are on opposite sides of the screen, per se, is I tell people all the time, I'm not teaching theory on how to do gutters. I'm teaching you other stuff. You know that about life. I'm learning along the way. People that I'm getting mentored by and coached by, um, that's at church. That's my prayer word. David, the guy's done all my paintings, like,
Mm-hmm.
left a spiritual imprint in my household, right? That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to be a better gutter coach or businessman. I want to be a better leader in the community. And the community, I feel like, is the entire planet, not just where I live in this little neighborhood. We're supposed to care about each other, right? As brothers and sisters, and whatever you feel that relationship is. I think you do that
Right.
very well too. I want to continue to see you expound on that. And so I like the way you put that. Somebody's fast in the relay, but if you ain't got the right handoff, right? And so our solutionists go out, and that what makes their job really easy is being able to sell you guys and having full belief that you guys are going to do and work the systems that they um are so happy to tell the customer that they're getting ready to receive, right? This thick value service, this driven with purpose service that they're going to get. I think that's a big one. Making the phone calls. Tell me a little bit about what that process is supposed to look like when you're on your A game. What I'm going to give you a scenario. You've got 3 jobs. You've got one at 8 a.m. You got one at noon, and we'll shoot it way out there. You've got one at 4. You usually don't have one then, but 8, noon, and 4. What does your morning look like after loading, whatever, with phone calls, or your day?
Yeah. So you're saying when I need to contact the homeowners, like
Yeah,
as
what
far
would the
as.
morning look like? Are you just calling the 4 o'clock? Are you just calling the 8? Do
Oh
you call
no,
any of them?
I'm definitely calling the 8, letting the
Hmm.
8 know my ETA,
Okay,
um for sure, my estimate time of arrival, and then I'm when I'm at the home at the 8 o'clock home, I'm doing my map to see where the second home,
right.
where that's located. So that way I know, kind of, not that I need to move fast, but I know I need to have, I'm on the time, on the clock. Like I need to make sure that I'm out of here at a certain time. So
Yep.
that way I could, plus travel, I need to make sure that I'm getting there, arriving at the destination on time, but safely.
Right.
For sure. And then, but if I so happen to go over into that window, now I need to contact the second. I'm gonna contact everyone regardless, but I go an extra step, you know what I mean, or a step further if
Yeah.
I feel like that I'm not gonna meet that window. So that way I'm still meeting expectation, or
Hmm.
at least trying to exceed. That's what
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well, we
try to
talk
do.
about
So
uh don't over promise and under deliver, right?
yes, sir.
Like just tell the truth.
Exactly.
We don't even need to like exceed expectations because our expectations and our value level is so
I, I
high.
was I was I was meaning more for the customer, because when they do, I hear a lot of times, like nine times out of 10, when they do work with contractors, the contractors don't have that high level communication,
Right.
like how you've been preaching about and everything like that. So that is something now that I try to make sure that I try to make a strong suit, or make it a forte of mine,
Mm.
is to basically have that communication. Like, like I'm not just some caveman who finna come in here and tear stuff down,
Mm.
like mess up your house, like basically,
Right.
like I'm thinking about your property, I'm thinking about you. I want the best, like, the best service basically that I can give you, because no matter what,
Yeah,
you
you're
still.
trying to get the best outcome. Uh, why? What is it? What effect does it have on you as an employee? Your name's not on the truck, not your personal phone number. You might only work here for 6 months. Like we do $2.5 million this year. You're not the one making the $2.5 million. What?
that's
What?
a that's that's a shallow mindset. That's a
Okay.
very shallow mindset, and it's not business savvy, because when the owner shines, we shine. Like,
Mm.
yeah, it may not, we may not be the ones directly, like liable for anything, but I love getting my reviews, the Google reviews. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to go to Google to get someone's criminal record and look at everything. I mean, so at least when you go look for some, the name pops up, but it said great job, hit Theo and the team. You know what I mean? They gave us wonderful service. They did this, they did that. You know what I mean? So, and plus that's something that you can use on your resume. If you're not happy where you are, you still have proof that your work is like is good quality. Like, and you can
Yeah,
go
that's great,
anywhere.
right? That was gonna be that's the nail on the head. That was gonna be the next thing I was gonna say about that particular system of getting reviews for the team is that becomes a part of your permanent resume. Yeah, maybe that company closes down, maybe you decide it's not the right place to work at. Them 40 or I used that, when I went to the last company. Hey man, we got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews at different companies with my name on it. Uh Pay me X, Y, and Z because I bring not only that to the table, but I bring these other things. And oh, you have systems in place that you want me to work. I love that. Let's go. Talk to me a little bit about the difference and what you've learned in like having more of a career mindset than a job mindset. And um, wrapping your head around the value of working systems. It feels like extra work, right? I mean, we can all say that having a million systems in place feels like extra work, but at the end of the day, being organized is way less work, right?
I think that just spins right back around. It spins right back around to the introduction of the conversation when we were saying, like how seriously do you take yourself, or do you take yourself seriously? Because if you have a business mindset, then you can answer that one question that's so difficult for it was specifically for me when I was younger. The where do you envision yourself being, or where do you see yourself being in 5 years? Like, that's a serious question, because you have to use your imagination. Like, you have to tap into this part of yourself that wants more than what you're doing right now. You know what I mean? So with the systems that we have, I feel like I honestly truly feel like that if you envision yourself being a senior head installer, if you envision yourself learning more and just having more knowledge like instilled inside of you, then that's where you end up being. And I feel like the systems that we have here is basically something that we can use to make the dreams come true. You know what I mean? Like, the dreams can come into fruition, like into reality. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, just like it says in the word, God never said that it's going to be easy,
Yep.
but he promised that we'll make it if we just happen to just stick it through. So I think if you can just stick it through and know that everything is not going to be easy, but if you give it like 1,000% every day, then this is a place where, the systems that we have, they recognize those individuals for sure who go, or who attempt to go the extra mile. And so I think, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's something.
were you employee of the month last month or the month before?
It was September, so I think it was like,
September. Oh yeah, it was my
yes,
birthday
sir.
month. That's right. Man, I was trying to give it to myself, but I was like, Theo really been doing his thing. Tell me a little bit about like obviously that comes from ownership down. That's let's give all credit to Brooke for that fabulous like what she does for our birthdays. I was
True.
telling someone the other day, right? We've had a couple instances. I wasn't talking about the Maxi one, but I don't know if you remember. Hubbard had a situation with his niece or something. They found her, remember? And Brooke and Kip jumped right on that, made sure they had some money, they had some food. Like I was just telling, like how amazing they are. So I just get to pick, and now we're doing votes, and we're gonna start letting you guys vote on that. How does that feel? Like I got one here. I just set up my new area. I remember getting one. We get these cool trophies. Therion
Yeah,
just
I got one of those too, sir.
Therion earned it way more than I did. Um, how did that make you feel? I know how that made me feel. What like the recognition for following the systems.
I'm not gonna lie, I got slightly emotional over that little plastic little, award or whatever, but it's not
Yeah.
about the value
Yeah.
in it's not about the value in the little plastic award. It's about people recognizing the value in you. You know what I mean? Like they
Right.
can see that they can see that no matter what, through rain, through the heat, through like emotional trials, stuff like that, you know what I mean, that you're sticking to the system. So yeah, so it felt it was refreshing. It was really refreshing, especially at the time, like with like what thing like where I was,
Yep.
things were going on, and I was determined to put a smile on my face every day. I was determined to have like the best attitude, and so to know that my peers, you know what I mean, and my coworkers and management, everyone knows I'm not just a number. You know what I mean? I'm not that just a number. You know what I mean? It's like I'm Therian. You know what I mean? So to be seen as an individual, you know what I mean, and to be recognized for that, you know what I mean, like just trying to be the best individual I can be, then
Mhm.
yeah, yes, sir. That was definitely a moment.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
a cool moment.
then the award was presented to me on my grandfather's birthday,
Mm.
and that was the man that I looked up to as far as like who gave me like a foundation as far as like how to be a man or what to like, what to
Yeah.
do and how to handle yourself. So yeah, so it was yeah,
I think you were able to
the
go out
cards
there and see.
definitely.
Were you able? I think you headed that way. I think that was one of them days you were able to head that way. We had a shorter week with all that rain and stuff, so that was cool. It was well deserved, Therion. Keep up the good work. I know you have a lot that you've had to overcome in the couple of years that I've known you. Well, I think one thing that I really like about as we all are striving to do more than just the best we can do for whatever personal reason, personal drive, like whatever our morals are, like Kip pushing or me pushing you or you pushing the guys under you, that we have a safe enough environment at work because we all are thinking like, hey, we're going to be here for a while. We might as well go ahead and open up to our coworkers, right? And let them know when we're emotionally down, when we're emotionally high or when we need some support or something like that. And I think Brooke and Kip, with just some of those small um, things like employee of the month, the birthdays, anniversaries, that is really huge. I think it makes working the systems a little bit more worthwhile because not only is like there no micromanagement, it's like here's the expectation. We call it what? Proof of proficiency.
Proof of
Not just,
proficiency, yes, sir.
yeah, in everything. Proof of proficiency in everything. The owners definitely get an A+ for proficiency and like actually caring about individually. And then giving me a ton of freedom, right? To try to do as many like high level gutter, all the machines we have, right? We got secret stuff. You're able to, and I want to segue into that now. Like, what is it like being the man of the hour with all the cool, fun toys and machines and tabs and radiuses and like acutes and bays and like flat, round, square, upside down, this way, that way, downhill bays? It's like whatever. What's that been like
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you?
yeah. The downhill horseshoe
That was the horseshoe. Yeah, that right. That
the
was down.
7 inch, the 7 inch downhill horseshoe was crazy. Yeah.
That one was pretty
Uh,
crazy.
I would
And
say the angles at the Cates, that little
mhm.
back piece back there, the 60 going into the 42 coming out into
Yeah.
like, yo. So
If you guys
honestly,
want to know what he's talking about, recently in the past month or two, we did a very, very beautiful job on a home, and I posted it all over social media. And we hand patinaed all of the copper. It had the fluted 4-inch round downspouts, the downspout hinge straps. The whole entire main house had half round with modern bar hangers,
yes,
and then
sir.
just the bottom around their pool. And we'll have to get some more video of it because you were out there. It looks fantastic now that the glass is all up and the way the Euro box with the copper one guard. If you guys can recognize Theo without all his hat, the sombrero, I think that's when you had the sombrero you could put your whole arm through.
Yeah, yeah, the one that was shut up.
You helped lead that job up. You've worked on a few other copper jobs, but nothing of that caliber, correct?
No,
And
sir.
uh when I sold that job, I threw like aesthetically everything I could at the customers and they wanted it. And so you guys had the expectation of perfection over there, right? Mr. and Mrs. Kate, absolutely. Um demanded that and you guys gave that to them and they've been nothing but happy. What does a project like that look like? You got to lead that up along with Hubbard. You guys were, you know, strong arming the rest of the help over there to get that done on time and execute it with a level of preparedness and clear-headedness every day to walk onto that project to make it, you know, within budget and within time. What was that like?
Well, initially it was pretty stressful at first because it was a lot of house. It was
Yeah,
definitely a lot of house. Like
yeah,
when we first initially did that walk around, the first initial, like, it was like it just seemed like the house did not stop going. You know what I mean? It was
yeah.
2-story and 3-story, and then
There's a part
oh,
like
go
that
around the
one
corner.
little top part's like 4-story or something up there, right?
Right, right. Yeah,
Over
no, that
water.
was yeah,
There's a
that was at
room,
least
yeah.
4 stories. Yeah, like
Uh-huh.
so we had that, and then you go around the corner, and then it's like more home, and then you go further down, and then you go around that corner, and then so it was it was
Over the
pretty.
river, through the bridge to grandmother's house.
Hey, like they say over yonder, you go
Over
over yonder, and it was still the home. It was still more
who
home
who
over
says
yonder.
over yonder? Is that like Texans? Is that what they say? Over yonder? Or is that like
Over yonder, yeah,
the,
yeah.
the Irish? Hey
That's an
man, over yonder. Get some potatoes.
old Negro thing. Over yonder.
It's an old what?
So Negro, you heard what I said, nigga.
I wouldn't go say it. You got me on live. You
Hey,
crazy.
not me on podcast.
I
But
don't mind.
no, but
Excuse me,
seriously
Mr.
though,
Darion, sir. Kind sir.
but no, no, seriously though, it was initially it was a little. I was skeptical at
Uh-huh.
first, but then I had to adjust my mindset because as a leader, you always have to be like optimistic, so or have a certain level of optimism. So I was trying my best to just know that hand tabbing wasn't new. It was just gonna be new with some of these angles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of so that's where having my digital protractor, having my knowing how to work my speed square, knowing how to maybe add to the angle when I'm going to the outside and then subtract from the angle when I'm going to my inside. So it was just certain things like that that I definitely learned while I was at the Cates at that home. But we got it done. So we
Yeah, and it
Hubert
came
and I
out
had to go back to
fabulous.
Hubert and I had to go back to the drawing board a couple of times, and we had to have some leadership huddles before we presented ourselves. You know what I mean, in front of the rest of the peers, I guess. Our coworkers. So
What is that?
uh,
Tell me what that looks like. What is a leadership huddle? What is tell like
sometimes you have to have a leadership huddle with yourself. You know what I mean? Like you have to just let yourself know, like, hey, shit,
dang.
it's gonna be a long day, but we cashing out though. We're gonna get this check.
Yeah,
We're gonna make
yeah.
this money.
When
You know what I mean?
when do you think we talk about this often? When are you supposed to have that leadership huddle with yourself? if we're gonna talk
First thing in the morning.
first
First
thing
thing in
in
the
the
morning.
morning.
Like
Damn,
before while you brushing your teeth, before you even get out the
am I
bed, when
all
you
in
open.
today, or am I gonna give up? Do I got personal problems? We check
Yeah.
that, right? There's a certain level at our company when you hit that, we start talking about it out loud. Like, hey, yo, you don't look like you all in, man. Didn't you have that huddle with yourself? What does that huddle look like amongst leaders though and peers?
Holding each other accountable for uh whatever their process, like whatever part they play
Mm,
in the process of what, like in completing whatever task that we have presented to us at that moment. Like,
yep,
say such and such, you on these downspouts today, you know what I mean? So we don't need you doing one downspout at a time. If you in one area and the wall looks the same, like most likely those downspouts are the same measurement. So we need you to try to knock out the rakes, knock out everything, do as much as you can in the area, not walking around
yeah,
aimlessly, going back to the truck, forgetting. So basically it's just keeping each other on point, you know what I mean, and making sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. So that
is
way
that
we
like when do we doing that at the end of the day, or when, like, what's the huddle? What does that look
we're
like?
doing huddles in the morning when we get to the shop. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, my assistant and I, we sometimes we call each other at night before we lay down, knowing, hey, we have a big job tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, so let's come in focus. We need caulking. We need more of this on the truck. Sometimes we'll make a little list, so we'll try not to be forgetful. You know what I mean? So, I mean, every now and then we forget things. We're human, but we try to stay on top of everything. And we call each other in the morning sometimes. But then when we get to the shop, we definitely have a huddle.
Yep.
We have another huddle when we arrive to the job. When we see the home and we do that walk around and we see those couple of things that were not in the pictures or what we were not expecting on the diagram, like maybe they forgot to put the downhills or maybe they forgot to do this or do that. We assess and then we meet at the truck. Hey, this is how this is going to go. Let's get these ladders. Let's get these measurements. This is what you're going to do while I'm cutting. I want you to pre-build the downspouts, or you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
just making
whatever
sure that we
level
have
they're at, right on the
a
ladder,
system.
that you already know, right? It's input in your head, like exactly where they're at. Like if you're running a Burger King or a steakhouse or something, somebody's supposed to be the cashier today. They're not supposed to be like back there making French fries. Like, you're supposed to be working the
Yeah,
cashier.
but yes, correct.
So like if someone doesn't tell them that, they might, like, even out of good faith, be trying to like make a burger, do drop fries, run the drive through,
Yes.
like, but
Like
they're,
I need you to do not what I tell you to do, but I need you
well,
to
yeah, but I
play
need
your
you to do what I
part.
tell you to do. And
Yeah.
as long as the supervisor management creates expectation, right? As long
Yes,
as the
sir.
expectation is created of, hey, you might have graduated last week, or you might be in the middle of a process or whatever. This week, don't forget, this is your part of the process. And specifically at this house, this is what I expect you. Right. We don't like to tell people things. We create expectations. Tell
Exactly. Yes, sir.
same thing. Just a nicer, what do we say, cuter way of like telling
Yeah,
someone what to
a
do.
softer, a more colorful way of
Yeah.
saying.
Like, hey, remember the contract on the wall? It's got an expectation there of like, you want to make all this money and you like lots of raises. So I just need you to follow the system and do the. You ever see anybody go bowling and like do that with their arm with no ball in it, and then the ball like just goes rolling by itself off of the rack? No, it's because there's a system. You have to
Nope.
pick up the ball and then move, and then inertia kicks in, and then it, you know,
Yeah. On the English. Yeah.
that English. You got to have some of that OE, man.
Yeah.
Back a long time ago in Southfield, that was my thing, man. You used to be able to bring uh 32 or 40 ounce of beer.
A 40.
40. I used to bring like a 40 of OE. Uh, this was in Southfield, Michigan, right outside Detroit. You used to be able to bring your own beer into this one bowling alley. And I used to have that OE, go bowling and usually drink a 40. Mickey's or
Yeah.
OE. It's fun times. Fun times.
Oh man, I
Um,
never tapped into the 40s, bro. I ain't gonna
but
even lie to you.
you're not a big alcohol guy. You're not definitely not a beer guy though. You
No,
like
definitely not beer. I'm a
your
whiskey
brandy.
connoisseur though.
You're a
With
yeah.
brandy. That
No,
that
I'm sorry. What
cognac? No,
is it? Cognac?
Crown Royal. Yeah,
Crown Royal. Is it
Brandy is
brandy
like a
or cognac?
well, I know for sure Crown Royal is not a cognac. Crown is a
That's a
whiskey.
whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brandy, I think Brandy is a cognac.
E&J. You remember the E&J?
That Irk and Jerk. Yeah, good old Irk. Good old Irk and Jerk.
Whole time. How old are you, Therion?
34, sir.
When did you get in the gutter business? So about 2.5, 3 years ago. So you were
Yeah,
over 30.
about 30, about 31,
You took a
30,
risk.
31.
You jumped in. You're now one of the most articulate with the tools at what I consider. I run a fairly high level branch. You're going to continue to be a part of that, I hope, and continue to grace us with your presence. It's always fun watching you amongst other individuals continue to grow. What's the, as an installer, what is like you find to be like the best part about having gutters as a career? Like, what is it? The pay? Is it loading the truck? Is it like the cool uniform? Like, is there like a police officer, a mailman, and then you in your pouch, and all the girls come to you? I mean, what is it?
It's definitely the old ladies for
The old
sure. The old
ladies,
ladies,
they be on. Oh, yeah, you silly.
no,
Keeping this
seriously.
part in.
So
There's no post editing of this interview of me and Daria. It will be in. What is it?
it's definitely the freedom.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is. Sometimes, since we're in Austin has these homes that are on these look like this with these beautiful views and on the hills and mountaintops. And I literally climb up to the tip top of these homes, and you can it's freedom. You know what I mean? Like,
You ain't got no boss on top of you. I don't play that game. I'm not on top
no,
of you.
you definitely don't micromanage there, but I get those 1,000 phone calls, man. Hey, you know how to harass somebody without being there though, for sure. So, but no, it's definitely, I don't know why I feel freedom like that. Sometimes when I'm up there getting the measurements and up there, sometimes I just stop and I just thank God for the moment and for him allowing me to see this, you know what I mean, like these views and stuff like that. And but not only that, but building something with my hands, because what I'm putting together, like it's gonna stay for at least 15 to 20 years. It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So
It's like a beginning to end process with the gutters. I
yes,
found
seeing
like
it, yes,
I
sir. Yes,
accomplished
sir.
something almost
Starting the
every day.
process, finishing the process, being satisfied with
Mm.
what I've done. And not just I don't like to walk. I've to this day, maybe probably a couple of times in my career have I walked away from a home and just like shook my head, like, dang, I tried my best. Like normally when I walk away, I know for sure that I did my best, and what's gonna work is gonna work.
What's on the growth agenda for Therion for next year? Tell us a little bit. People, I think, are going to be seeing a little more of you. I have no problem. I'm proud of what you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. That's on you. The secrets to my training. All honor and glory goes to God, and then what you're doing on your, like, these are your hands. These aren't my hands. This is you doing. You're just following instructions. I give you instructions, and you take a leap of faith and choose to follow them. And I would say the majority of the time I lead you in the right direction. So what can the world expect to see from Therion in gutters next year? Because they'll be watching.
Oh, that's a broad question.
Okay. Specifically,
I would
what's captivating you in growth right now? Like, why are you doing a podcast? You're a gutter installer. I don't see anybody on any gutter podcast, and they're all just talking to guys that make lots of money. They're not bringing, not that you don't make a lot of money, but you know what I mean. Everybody just
I
wants to
understand.
talk and hear to the
I understand.
upper management. Why?
I mean,
What
well,
do you have for us?
I have I have a chip on my shoulder a little bit, you know what I mean? Because coming from the food service industry and putting so many years and stuff into that, so much energy into that, I want to put that same amount of energy into being the best gutter guy, you know, the best gutter guy that I can be, understanding the craft, knowing that there is always something that I can learn, how to solder, how to hit that angle, rounding all. I may have to come to a situation where I may need to go from something K style to something smoother, or may have to learn how to, you know, it's always something that you have to, it's the little details, you know what I mean,
I
that
like to
makes
throw everything at you, right?
that's what I'm saying. So you're asking me a question I can't even answer because next year ain't this year. You know what I mean? So
You're like,
what
I'm just trying
jobs?
to worry about the $60,000 we got to do next week.
That's what I'm saying. Like you got like my plate is full right now. You know, so but no, but
We're gonna
seriously
see
though,
some cool stuff from you. I'd be willing to bet, and I know you're focused. I know you're tuned up. I'd love to have another conversation with you sometime about some of the more technical things you're doing. So, kind of to close here, Therion over the past what 6 months since you've been back working with me
yes, sir.
went from uh head installer being able to install, most any job, to me saying, hey, let's just tab everything. Here in South Texas, strip miters are a thing. If you follow my custom gutter guy page, I've been tabbing for a long time, and a lot of these guys have been tabbing corners in certain situations. Therion runs the machines straight face, half round, and Euro box that we choose to tab on. We tab everything right on those jobs, and has took that task on and has been just tabbing 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week for 6 months, everything. And your execution and the way you think it out has been admirable. I know you won't leave a house until it's done right. Hell, even if you got to tell them you might have to move in on this acute corner downhill thing, it doesn't matter. And it's been a pleasure and a real joy to watch you grow. Is there anything that you think that I could help you do to help push your career along a little bit more? What is it? Is there anything that I'm lacking on? As I'm your boss. Like, what do you need more from me so that I can continue to, as a friend, personally and professionally, make sure that you're successful in the gutter business? What what do you
Well,
got?
I think you've laid out a system already that you're one of those guys that make me think that I don't know why, but I think about Peter, like in the Bible, where where God was saying basically like, if you give a man a fish, then he doesn't learn anything, but if you teach a man how to fish, then not only does he learn how to fish, but then he learns how to feed himself. You know what I mean? So I think that the style and the way that you do things is the most efficient if you're really trying to call yourself like a man and really trying to be a man, because you'll give someone the blueprint, but you're not going to do it for them. You're going to allow them to understand and comprehend it the way that they do. And if they stick it out and they understand, then that's kudos to their character. You know what I mean? So you're doing things in a way to where you get a little bit of the praise, but the individual who completes the task gets more of the praise and gets more and gets that pat on the back or gets more compliments, and thanks or whatever. So you're running a high level business. It's nothing that you really can do more. You know what I mean? Like you stretch yourself out thin. You know what I mean? You try to be there for several individuals dealing with several type of attitudes, several type of situations and culture differences and backgrounds and stuff like that. So you can only do so much at the end of the day, so, but at the same time, I also think that you continuing to better yourself and like redefining how you do things is the best thing that you can do for all of us, like every individual around you, you know what I mean? So, but for the most part, man, like you've given me an opportunity, and I want to make sure that I exceed expectations. I already know you say that we already have that or whatever, but I'm just trying to make sure that when my number is called, when my play is called or whatever, that I make sure that I get those points and I score, you know what I mean, and do it
Yeah,
in a way that where it stands out, you know what I mean? Because it's your name on it. I am the installer, but you're the mind and the genius behind everything, you know what I mean? So
I appreciate you, man. I'm far, far, far from a genius, but I do understand what you're saying, and I've definitely earned my seat at
I've
whatever
I
table.
every other individual may not have seen you do some like certain things, bro, but I've seen you do some stuff that's like wow, like okay, let me step my tool game up. Now I see why he has that tool. Now I see why he cuts that way. Now I see why he told me to, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
to when I use my pencil to not point my pencil out, but to make sure my lead is super sharp. So when I hit the template, that it's not throwing me off an eighth or subtracting a 16th.
yeah,
All that all that matters. And I feel like that's attention to detail. And not only is that attention to detail, but bro, so many different avenues and so many little things, you know what I mean, that you have to be detailed about. Like that's incredible, to be honest with you, bro. So
I
I'm not,
appreciate that.
you know,
Yeah, I
we said we're
appreciate
not
that.
gassing or nothing. So I'm not gassing you or nothing, but I'm just saying
Your
that
Christmas bonus is going to be the same no matter what you say on this podcast. You know,
bro, not even $1 more, bro. Damn, I'm working hard to give you $1 more.
oh man. Um, this table that I'm sitting at has a lot of people sitting at it, man. I'd like to invite you to the table. What number? You said when your number's called. What number? What's your like lucky number? What's your go-to? Like my number's 13. I would, I like that. What's
I would say mine was like either like 3 or 6.
you got to
You know
pick
what I
one.
mean? Uh
How am I gonna call your number if I don't know what your number is?
all right, then I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with 6 then.
Calling 6. Your number's called. It's on you. It's showtime. You and Hubert, right now, you know the plan. It's been articulated to you. Do you have any questions about it?
No, sir.
We got 5.5 weeks left to the year. Let's get it. Darian,
Sir.
I absolutely appreciate and value your time. Like I said, I know you could be watching football. Um, I'd love to have you back. I appreciate your integrity and I appreciate and value what you bring to the team. I got no table to sit at. I'm telling a lot of people that right now. Well, are you going to still work and you're going to do this? Yeah, I'm going to be a coach that continues to run a very high level, top end. We're talking about it now, right? I'm teaching you guys about it. Doing $4 million with 10 trucks means nothing if you only bring in home X amount. And if we can do $2.3 million with 3 trucks and make a lot more money and put less miles on vehicles, right? So you're
Yes, sir.
definitely going to continue to be a part of the team. And I'm excited a lot, man, to see what you got coming for us next year. You blew my mind with some of the stuff you did this past week at work. So it's really cool to see. Theo, I hope you have an amazing rest of your evening. We will see you bright and early tomorrow at work. You know what time it is. And until next time, brother.
Same to you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to as well,
Absolutely.
sir. And I look forward to being back on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, bro.
Yes, sir.